Before we get into today's episode, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the Open Doors, Open Mind YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify and on our other social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook and now TikTok. Links to all will be in the description below.
I find life isn't, you think you're planning it and the world just chucks you a massive curveball.
I was just waiting to listen to see what you were going to say as an intro, because we've got quite a few people doing their own shows now, and I'm feeling that Jack is doing really good intros straight to camera. So I thought maybe you might have started something to camera.
Hi. No. No, obviously this is the check-in section.
This is a slow beginning. Are you okay?
No, I'm just doing to camera. No, I'm just winding up. Yeah, how you been anyway?
I've been very busy.
You've been very, very busy. Busy again now, right?
Yeah, I've been all over the place and just been working. I actually went to Wimbledon on Wednesday. It was very nice.
See that.
Yeah, do you see?
With the millions of people that were queuing and the protesters. Was you there for that bit when they jumped on the pitch? Or is it pitch? Court, sorry. Court and threw puzzles and glitter everywhere.
No, they wouldn't be able to get on the court.
No, they did, honestly.
No, I know.
Oh.
I was there that day.
Oh, that's what I
But they wouldn't be able to get onto the court that I was on.
Right.
They went to court 18 because, trust me, there wasn't an easy access to get onto there. Do you know how many courts there are at Wimbledon? There's quite a few.
Oh, no. I was like, what? There's not they could get in.
Yeah.
Is there not just one tennis bit?
No.
Oh, generally, I've never been.
Oh, okay. There's quite a lot of courts. There's a lot of tennis going on.
Oh, we're all at the same time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes a bit more sense. I was like, what do you mean? Not on your court. Well, where were you then? Because that was definitely Wimbledon.
I was at court 1, and I think it happened on court 18.
So court 1 is the one.
No, centre court is the one. But we had better matches, so I was very happy that we got to be. And it was raining as well, so a lot of tennis wasn't being played until it was still raining. The weather's not been great this week.
No, literally, it's
good for plants.
Jumping in and out, doing the DIY in the garden, backwards and forwards, and electric saw out. Nope, cover it up. It's going to stop. It kept going. It was one of them sort of weeks. But yeah, no, I've had an interesting week.
Go on,
I've learned how to fit a front door.
Okay.
I've learned how to clad the outside of a building. I've also learned how to make a fletch beam. I've also learned how to level the floor out. I've also learned how to do electrics this week. I've been very busy.
To a high standard, or just watching?
No. Obviously, I've had my dad, who's a chippy. He said, "Yep, no, that's perfect. That you can put that one in." And I've put in walls. I've done all sorts this week.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
So you couldn't get better?
No, I could never say that. Everyone can. I don't think anybody can say they're at 100% of their game, because they can always learn something.
But you used the word perfect.
It was perfect.
That means
the next time I do it, it'll be excellent.
I think excellent is a step down from perfect. Excellent is like doing like good, excellent, perfect. Would you say?
You could. That was a school teacher one, and that's like, is it silver, gold? No, what is it?
Bronze, silver, gold.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Because when someone says, "Oh, how are you doing?"
This was a bronze.
I'm good. Okay, that's fine.
That I was quite happy that I managed to.
Did it.
Like, my brother come over this morning. He was like, "Wow!" Even he was quite impressed. That he said, "I didn't think you'd be able to do it." I was like, "Great, thanks, bruv."
That's a good thing though, because if he thought you could really do it and you did it and you sort of did it okay, he'd be like, "Oh, I could have done it better." But because he thought you couldn't do it, he was like, "Oh, you've done really good."
Now I've also got to learn how to do. What are they called? It's like leveling the two different floors, so they bring them into level, and you've got to nail wood on and metal on and bits and pieces. And
for what? What is this?
So basically, the gym that I had in the garden that I built in lockdown to obviously help my mental health, because it distracted me with everything else that was going on, and obviously to create a gym, because I was using gazebos, and obviously the weather in the winter and the rain, it was just blowing them away or destroying or bending them up. So I built myself a 5-meter shed in the garden, and which obviously kept me going for a couple of months, and then used it with the gym in lockdown. Bought the equipment, obviously ordered it through Amazon. There are other people, and kept myself going while lockdown was happening, because while the gyms were shut. and now I'm converting it to games rooms, bits and pieces like that, place where the kids can, my kids, not just any kids,
all the kids, just all come down. His address is
because obviously now I've got all the kids living with me. It's getting a bit cramped and bits and pieces, so yeah, they need their own separate space so they can go and chill and all the rest of it.
I've got a question to ask you.
Go on.
That was a good intro. I'm going to do it after this. So my question to ask you is, what does mental health mean to you? I want you to put it in a sentence that's no longer than 30 seconds.
What does mental health mean to me? Mental health.
When someone says, I have mental health, what does that mean? Because I'm seriously confused about it, and I want to know your perspective on it.
So originally, before I started this journey, the word mental health, I would have said was bad. As in, as soon as you mentioned the word mental health, it meant something negative or you wasn't having a good time. Now, mental health to me means something. How do I explain this in my words without tripping myself up? Mental health is a positive as well as a negative. So that's why the way you do it, as in where are you with your mental health, as in the scale 0 to 10, that's what it kind of means to me now, in the sense of it all depends if you're having a good day with mental health or a bad day with mental health.
Isn't that just life?
Do you know what? That's probably a better way to put it, you know, rather than using, because I think there's so much stigma around the word mental health.
I hate it.
It's now
it annoys me.
It's used
now.
as a weapon a lot now. Like if you go to works or bits and pieces, oh, my kid's got mental health, or I've got mental health. And yeah, but everyone's got mental health, good and bad. It's not. Probably the best way to put it is the way you did. Life. There's ups and downs, and sometimes, like I did, and got myself into a situation where everyone goes up, and obviously the courses and stuff for that, everyone goes up and down with their mental health every day. Like there's good things that bring you up and bad things. When your mental health is bad, it's because you've been in such a bad time for such a long. It's hard to rebound, and each time you do it, some people can't bring themselves back up into the positive part of mental health. They're always in the negative part of mental health. That's what I learned doing the mental health first aid courses and the different stages, and like there's 4 levels to mental health, a bit like cancer in the sense of level 4 is obviously exact same as cancer, as in 4. If you're stage 4 of cancer, it is quite a
near the end of life.
Yeah, you know you're at the critical point where you need help now. Obviously, stage 1 means you're starting to slip and heading towards.
Are you making this up right now, or this?
No, this is fact. This is actual fact. Yeah, no, I've done the
steps.
course. 15 weeks on a course, a mental health first aid course, and that's obviously learning about it as you go. Obviously, also helped my own. I couldn't recommend that better to anybody else. I think everybody should do a mental health first aid course just to understand that the word mental health doesn't always have to be a negative.
You reckon everyone should?
I think it should be, because we built up such a stigma, not just in lockdown, but I mean for years and years and years and bits and pieces. The word mental health, the first thing anybody thinks, oh, mental health, oh, it's something's wrong.
Well, that's what you thought.
Yeah, and that's why I suggest, or would hope, that people, if they want to educate themselves, like one thing that I learned on the course was that a panic attack can't last more than 25 minutes, no matter how hard you try it. But if you wanted it to go, your body physically stops it. It cannot last more than 25 minutes.
Do you reckon people use the term mental health when they don't have?
Yep.
So how do you get to the people that need the help?
That's why I would
over the
recommend
ones
the course.
that are just saying it for maybe excuses.
Again, obviously, with that mental health first aid course, it teaches you. So obviously, when I'm helping certain people out there, I'll have a conversation and do certain things, whether it's a walk, whether it's different exercises, even just sitting having a conversation. I will try to work out with certain things that you're saying or doing, whether you, I want to use the word because this isn't the correct word, but spectrum, so other people understand how far along you are on the mental health, or you're doing what some people I've come across that just wanted free PT, because obviously when the thing and I was like, okay, yeah, no, I know what you're after. I kind of worked it out like, okay, there's certain things that I know about the stuff that with PTSD that I've learned. Other people that I've helped with similar things or other depression and all that sort of stuff. There's certain key things that every single one, they're not all the same, but there's certain points that they'll match. And then you'll get some people that will use mental health to obviously get themselves out of work, to make the world feel sorry for them because obviously they're having, and I'll quote this one, shit time. They use that thing as a barrier to protect themselves from the world, and it's not.
Wouldn't you say that is the mental health? Like, I'm just saying, if you're going to lie about it and then try and, exacerbate the situations, then isn't that probably a mental health? Like, where does it stop? Like, I'm worried that we don't get to the right people anymore because there are so many people in front of us shouting and screaming there's something wrong, that the ones that are quiet probably just going to go and kill themselves.
They're the ones that are truly.
We will never see them.
And that's what I even worked out on the door. Even the one, obviously this is slightly different, but the one that was with the mouth is the one you didn't have to really worry about. It's the quiet one at the back that's watching and not saying anything. And the same with mental health. That's normally the person, like myself, I would never have spoken up if it didn't get that bad, because of my job, who I was, my friends. And obviously back then I saw it as a weakness. So there's many people that are suffering now that are truly needing the help.
We will never get to them.
And the ones that are shouting now as such, I think it's a bit of a 50-50 in the sense of some of the people like now, because of people like us that are doing this kind of thing, feel like they can now step forward and say, yes, I need help. And rather than trying to deal with it myself, I've learned to build a community up around them, support network, and they're saying it for a purpose. And there's other people that go, oh, hang on a minute. If I've got mental health, that means I don't have to go to work. And I've got an excuse, the reason why I was an arsehole and said this and said that, oh, it's my mental health was bad, I was having a bad day. It doesn't make excuses for everything. But you can't always be correct. I don't know if I'm 100% right all the time.
You're
but
not.
That's
fine. You don't have to be.
No. But
Have you ever
try to do the best I possibly can to help as many as I can.
Have you ever had an ECG?
Yes.
When you
Is that the one where they put it on your heart and you see the blood going in and or is that something else?
It's more
MRIs
like,
where they scan in the
yeah, but there's more kind of your heart rate.
One's red, one's
like
blue, and it comes in and out.
No, it's more like seeing your heart rate.
Oh, on the
and stuff like that. And so, and what does it look like? It looks like
for that.
That.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you know why that logo is quite clever?
Go on.
Because I think it represents life. It has a heart in. And it has the markings of a heartbeat around it, which is probably on purpose, yeah?
Yes.
That's life. There's high bits right there, and there's low bits right there. And after time, there was even a low bit again. Then there's a high bit. Then there's a little low bit. Then there's a little high bit. That's life. And that is my mind that people keep on using the word mental health for traction, when really it's just a jazzed up word for life. Life is up. Life is down.
I like
If
that.
life is this, you are dead.
I do. That's quite a very good way. I think we should start referring to this is the life.
That's it. That
It is though, isn't it? It's
in a
if you put
moment,
it in
your
that
day
sense,
is terrible. In your week, it's okay. In a year, it's up and down.
Do you think that obviously with mental health, as in if you did it over 12 months, right? Just we'll take you for example. So over 12 months, so from today, 12 months back, how many ups, how much positive and negative, do you think it balances itself out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, you get more attention on your whinging than you
But
will
do you
get.
think that's also self-care at the same time?
No, stop self-care. I think you get more attention on whinging, and when the highs happen, you don't take them as highs.
You don't appreciate me.
No way.
Yeah.
As much as you be like, it happened again. Oh, that's happened again. You're not like, oh, do you know what? I was like driving today, and every single light was green. Like, it's mental. I love that.
Do you do the
Yeah,
the
I look at
traffic
green.
light God?
I look at green. I look at green all the time. I'm like, oh, it stopped again. Oh, it stopped again.
So when your mental health's bad, how would you describe it? Where obviously you're doing a scale of like the 1 to 10. When you're at your lowest, how far do you think you come down?
I don't think I'm ever at a low. Like, I'm just relatively, the last two lines, the up and down, that's where normally I am. I don't do this.
But in a day or over a week, do you see what I'm trying to say to you?
I think I do. I think you have to, when things happen, you have to look back how you're going to look at that in a week or a month or a year and think, oh, okay, well, that happened. That's annoying.
Yeah.
That's not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have time for that. But what did I learn from doing that? What did I get out of that? What came next from that situation? So if I lose my job, I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do with my job. What am I going to do with my job? But what if I get like 5 years time, I get the dreamiest job I've ever, because I was too comfortable in my other job and I was probably a bit lazy and I was like, I'm fine here. And then I lose it. I'm so down. I'm like, oh, I'm down. Oh my God, what's going to happen? But it leads me to different paths. And then people are going, oh, actually, there's something you could do here. What about doing this? And then it leads you. And then you met a person and that's the person you marry. Or like,
yeah, it's kind of like you think you're on one path. The one thing that I've learned in the last 2 to 3 years doing this is you think you're heading in one path and you've gone halfway down that path and then it branches off and you're in this way and you think you're going that way and all of a sudden it will come back across. And I find life isn't, you think you're planning it and the world just chucks you a massive curveball, positive and negative.
oh, I think you think you're important. That's why. I think you think you're in control.
But do you not think
You're
that's
not.
necessary though?
No.
Why?
You're not in control, because that's why people are feeling rubbish about their life, because they think they can handle it. I was like, no, you can't. Imagine you're just like, yeah, I can't handle this, so I'm just going to carry on. Like, the problem is you're like, oh, I hope today's a good day. You set yourself up to fail.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, I hope I feel good and nothing goes wrong today. You set yourself up to fail. You're like, oh, wow, I told you it was going to happen. You can't feel like that. You have to be like, it's just life. Things are going to be happening. Things that are going to annoy you.
But do you not
Things
think
are gonna go
adults'
for you.
mental health and children's mental health are like slightly different?
No, I
of the
think
way
it's
that-
all the same. I think we're separating ourselves so much, and we're giving everything we're saying, everything we're doing right now, we're all made up by us. We've made up all these terminologies to make sense to us, and then we stop there. We're like, and stop.
Is that
what it
kind of
is.
giving everyone an excuse to kind of not push themselves further?
Oh, of course, we're all lazy sods. We are all lazy. There's something in your life you're not doing right now. And so you do something else to not do that thing that you should be doing. It happens all the time. We do it every single day. I've been like, do you know what? I need to change my breakdown cover. It's on my wrong car. I've been saying it for ages. Gotta change it. Gotta change it. Gotta change it. I'm annoyed at myself because I'm like, if I've said it more than 3 times, I'm literally wasting my life. If I changed it when I said I gotta change it, I never have to think about it again. But unfortunately, I'm like, oh, gotta change it. Guess what I did this morning? I was like, okay, I'm gonna write the email. I'm gonna change it. And now, just waiting for an email back. Hopefully tomorrow it's changed, done. Don't have to think about it again. That's what we have to do.
Yeah, put things in the right place. And yeah, that's so obviously this goes into, obviously I know this kind of leads into another bit before I say it. So obviously for tips and tricks.
That was a long wait.
I know, I was trying to wait to see, thinking of Kai before he's edited. Obviously going with one of the things we did, or you mentioned a while ago, was about
Bananas.
oh yeah, he found that. He actually found that show because was it Bernie?
Bernie, yeah.
Bernie, yeah.
Yeah, it's weirdly glad.
I've tried it. Put this way, I don't know if I'm heavy-handed. It kind of just
You're heavy-handed.
Yeah,
it's
it
fine.
didn't end up the way it was supposed to be, or I think it was obviously too.
It could be too
Right.
squishy.
Yeah, it just didn't work out. But the one thing that I have put into practice without me realizing was, and obviously this is for the tips and tricks part, is to rather than just like if I have an idea like the shed, rather than go, oh, I'll do that tomorrow, just do it. Just rather than put it how you would say, oh, if something needs to be done, don't think about it more than once. Do it the first time you thought about it. That's the one thing that I've got more done that way than allowing it to go, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Just get on with it and just do it there and then, rather than put it behind and say. And now it irritates me that nobody else is doing it. Like they'll put a cup down, like the kids will put a cup down, Whereas before I was guilty of it and put a cup down and go and just leave it. And now because I'm like, no, just go and put it in the dishwasher or just go and put it in the sink.
What is their incentive? What is their incentive to put it in the sink for them, really? I don't know.
One, to stop me from moaning.
That might be an incentive, but not really an incentive, because you're going to moan anyway. You'll find something to moan at them about. So there's no incentive to do that. Your incentive is to get things done. Them to put the cup away, well, you're probably just going to do it.
So why do you do it then? Why do you not leave it, or leave not just cups, and what I'm talking about, the way how you said it to me a little while ago, as in, rather than, if you had to think about it more than twice, to remind yourself twice, it irritates you, you just do it on the first time you think about it.
I'm projecting forward about what's going to make me feel rubbish. So I'm like, if I don't do this now, how am I going to feel when I still haven't done it in 3 weeks' time? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to feel terrible. I'm going to feel I haven't done the work. Okay, let's do it now.
Right, so if you didn't do it now and it failed or whatever in the future, after you've done it, you're not as upset?
No, because, and you have to put that into context of what it is, like pinning away, getting my pickup breakdown cover sorted is that, it can cause a problem that if I don't do it, what happens if I break down? I'm like, I should have done it 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now that's led to something else. But if I did it 3 weeks beforehand and then I break down, I'm like, good job I did that.
Yeah, but that's
You're
what I mean
never
about
gonna
the cup,
regret it.
as in the cup represents everything they're doing. So if they're lazy with the cup, do you not think they're going to be lazy with other things like the bedroom?
No,
the
it just
tidying?
no, it just means it doesn't matter to them at this point. That's fine. Because actually that doesn't really mean anything because you are going to do it like you have done all of their lives. On guarantee, no matter how great you think your kids are, the problem is you've disabled them. You've done stuff for them that when they leave your house, you'll be appalled the things they can't do because you just did it for them. Now, in a sense, you didn't give them incentive to do that and make them feel fun about it, like putting stuff away or stuff like that, or give them an idea. You just moaned at them. And so when they leave, they might not know how to cook a meal, right? Mm-hmm. Like an actual meal, not just throw stuff in the oven that's frozen, or to do the washing. My friend said, he was like, oh my God, how white are your socks? I was like, well, are they new? I was like, no. He's like, why are they so white? I was like, I use this like Vanish powder. Others, exist. But I use this Vanish powder and I just wash all the whites together. He was like, oh, I just wash like my darks and then my lights. I was like, no, just the whites together. Like if you want stuff to stay the way you want it to stay, you have to do the protocols. But if you can't be bothered, I was like, well, why didn't you? It's like all my socks are like grey because I just wash them with just like other things. And this is a problem. Like, I was like, well, that's not your fault. He's like, oh, what do you mean? And what do you mean? I was like, that's your parents' fault. They didn't teach you well. It's true. Everything that you cannot do, if you cannot cook, your parents didn't teach you to cook. Why?
So, obviously my mum taught me everything I need to know in the sense of how to wash, how to iron, how to look after a house, how to manage my bills, blah, blah, blah.
Do you do the same?
I think I am. Like this morning.
No, yeah, that's fair. But do you reckon it starts from when they're 2?
Correct.
So all the way through of being fascinated by things, did you let them help you or did you do it for them? And this is a problem. I think people do it for
It depends on which child it was.
Of course. But yet again.
Like even Benjamin being the youngest, even his brothers and sisters did lots for him in the sense of he only learned how to tie a shoelace. I think it was about 8. Where the others, like Sadie, we made her do it. Scott Jr., we made him do it. Then he got to Charlie, we did it for him and made him do it. And at the time, because life was busy and all the rest of it, we didn't even have to, they would automatically do it. If Benjamin wanted to go upstairs, he didn't want to go up there by himself. You wouldn't even need to say anything. They would automatically just go up with him, or they'd get him dressed, or they would do all sorts. But life I think it's funny, it all depends on where you are in the family, where the dynamic of the family is. Like Scott Jr., he can hang doors, he knows how to put cupboards on, he knows how to paint, I've taught him. So I've tried to I should, in fairness, give them all a skill, but each one kind of helps the next one or teaches the next one at the same time as me teaching one or two of them, shows the next one. Like Benjamin now knows what a dolly is for when you're putting the wood on to keep the level across and when you're tacking. Whereas
I
the day
don't know
before,
what that is, so you're fine. Don't
so
worry
the day
about
before that, he didn't know it. He got all frustrated, and the bit that frustrates me is like with the kids go, "Oh no, I can't do it. That's it." No, what I've learned in the last 3 years, there is always, with this brain, it doesn't matter how clever or GCSEs, there is always a solution for something. It doesn't matter which way you go round, there is always, it may not come to you straight away, but there is always a solution.
it. Do you know what it's called?
Go on.
Taking your time. And how many times you do it.
Yeah.
The main reason why Nan's Victoria sponge cake is amazing is because the one you're eating is the 2000th one she's made.
Yeah, we're the very first one.
Not number one.
Correct. Yeah, like literally we were putting football goals up for my nephew and I asked Scott Jr. He's like, "Oh, no, I ain't doing it. I can't read the instructions." Well, there was no writing. It was all pictures.
Yes, I've seen those instructions.
And I was like...
They're seriously annoying.
And I was like, right, stop. Take a deep breath. Sit down. Just now have a look. The picture, the information is there. It's only because I've learned to look deeper into the pictures and it will give you the hint of where it's like a puzzle.
Well, it's like Lego.
It was, yeah, it was.
That's why you should do Lego really young. Really important.
Yeah,
that's what you're doing.
And that's
learning
what
how to
we've
put things
always
together.
done. Like even mine and my brother's Lego that we'd built up over the years, we had trays and trays and trays of it. We gave it to our kids and let them just run wild with it. And I end up screaming at them because I've stepped on it in the morning coming down to get a coffee. But it shows them, it gets their brain thinking. And I think the generation, I may be wrong, or just the kids that I'm around or I've experienced, they hit a barrier and they find an excuse. And that's what I feel sometimes.
Nah, it's always happened. Kids are lazy. That's it. It always happens. There's always a reason to not do it. Also, you're growing.
Yeah, but I think that is a nature as a human. We always find or try to find an easy option out.
You would find you still, as an adult, you still do exactly the same. That's why I say you should always choose the hardest option. You should buy the worst house on the best street. Do you know what I mean?
That's not. Yeah. So why did you buy your house then?
I thought it was a good investment because of where it is. No traffic. I'm from Cowsham, so like there's just traffic all the time, the bridges and stuff like that. There's no infrastructure really. There's buses, but we have a train direct to London, which is like there. You know, and we have the motorway there, going to Wales, going to London, going to Oxford, with no traffic coming out of this village whatsoever. Mm-hmm. I saw that if I fell in love with the house, I mean, you haven't even been round yet.
No, not yet.
But if I fell in love with the house when I walked around and I was just like, hey, then I know when I sell it, someone's going to walk in. Because I've owned 4 houses in my time, not at the same time, but all like after each other. And every single house I've ever owned, the first person to walk in, to look around, to buy it, bought it. The first person. Every time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because obviously I know the area you're in, and I also know the houses. They're nice houses.
Well, they're newly done up over the last 7-8 years.
You built them quite well, really.
I've lived them. It's difficult with houses to say any house is built well, because I feel like.
And my dad would tell you different as a builder. He wouldn't have it. No, back in our day,
Yeah,
the houses were built to last.
They were.
Blah, blah,
they
blah.
weren't. No, they're prefab.
Like even the council houses around in the back end of it, you know where Crescent is. Mm-hmm. Them walls are solid. They're like that. Now you'll be lucky if you get a wall that sort of thing.
Yeah,
out of
1 brick,
timber.
2 brick.
Not even that anymore. They're literally timber. That's what my dad's like. No, they're not built to last. Anyway, that's a whole different subject, right? That's a whole different podcast. Any builders want to come on and start your own podcast about building? Feel free.
So my tips and tricks probably just leads into the last one, but actually ask for help. Even the smallest thing. The other day, I was talking to my friend, and this sounds like a really harsh conversation that I'm going to say, but he's been my friend for a very long time. He then had kids. Then we didn't see him, right? But that's not the same for all of my friends. Some of my friends embraced us because like, I'm really struggling. Can you come around? Can you come help? Can you come do this? And we were like in their kids' life and in their life, and we saw them. These guys didn't do that, right? And they just had the kids, and then they went away, and we didn't see them. They're struggling.
And now I want everybody around.
No. But they still didn't ask anyone. So my friend we went out for lunch, dinner, sorry, and the first thing he wants to do is talk about his kids. And I just went, stop. You don't have to talk about your kids here because you probably talk about them all the time and they're around you all the time. So at this point, I don't care. You can talk about anything else that you can't talk about when you're at home or walk over. I'm your friend. I've known you for ages. Also, I don't know your kids, so you don't have to speak about them. And he was like, why? I was like, because you've never asked for help. And do you know what he did this week? He was like, can you pick up my kid from school and like help him out and, keep
How
him
did that
safe
make
for
you
a
feel
couple of
though?
years? Well, I was just like, then, because he reached out.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. And we had a great time. I picked him up. He had a meltdown. It was hilarious. Then we went to the shops. He wanted to buy a melon. He carried the melon. He fell over with the melon. Then he had a meltdown. Then we got inside. He's fine. I put the melon in the fruit bowl, put all the fruit on top of it and like balanced it. He was like, wow. Then we made muffins. Then we played a game. Then we flew a kite. Then we finished cooking the muffins, let them chill on the side, cool down. Then we had dinner. Then we ate the muffins. Then I went home. In the space of like 2.5 hours.
Wow, that's
He's
a
4.
lot.
He's 4.
So, but do you not find it
And then what
also
you're doing
the dynamics of how they were brought up, as in?
Well, you're just trying to build connection in the sense like when you are struggling as a parent, as a person, it's like if you just ask for help and just say, hey, can you
Like a support
stop
network.
trying to do it by yourself. Stop it. It's so weird. We all do it. We all think like, oh, I'll just do it by myself. No, you won't. It literally says on most boxes, like, needs 2 people to do this. And you're like, I can do it by myself. And then you're like, trying to do this table by yourself. We've all done it. We've all tried to do stuff by ourselves. And guess what? It doesn't work.
No.
And the main reason why to like ask for help is because someone will say, oh, I tried to do the same thing. It didn't work that way. So why didn't you do it this way? Because it worked that way. And you're like, oh, cool. Now you stopped me from having to learn how to not do it. And you taught me how to do it.
That's not a bad way of looking
So
at it, guys.
ask for help, like always. Even now, I'm like, I need to ask you for help. So I need some doors hanging. So I know you do a perfect job.
Yay, it's a skill I learned this week.
I don't need any doors hanging. Actually, I got someone to build a base in my garden, and they've just done a terrible job. And like a really
concreted it.
No. The like it's sort of decking kind of sort of base sort of thing, and for a shed to go on top. And they've just done a terrible job. And it's like really, really bad. Like you have to come over and you have to see, and then you can kind of advise who you think should. So that's what I was going to say.
I already know my brother.
Okay, cool.
He'll be able to sort it out.
Okay, cool. Okay. That's my tips and trips. Tits and trips. Tips and tricks. There you go. What's coming up on the last bit of today's show?
Thought of the day.
Okay. Well, we're going to find out.
Because obviously I wanted to call it something else, but it is exactly the same thing.
Well, we can do that after this.
So go on then. What is your thought of the day?
It's so funny because when that clip comes in, we just sit there just staring at each other like, we don't have to do anything there. We can just kind of just do anything and blah, blah, blah. Because then I can't. Thought of the day. Here we go. I would like people to figure out how to de-escalate situations instead of escalate them. So if you know a way of making sure you have a thing that you can kind of throw water on it instead of throwing petrol on it, I think that's what we should be doing with most people. So if some things are happening and they're like, bah, you have to find a way of going, ooh, and not to kind of go, ooh, you know what I mean? I don't want a hype man for my own argument. I want a way of going, okay, everyone calm down. So one of the things I used to say is that if I, you know me for a very long time, if I'm going on a rant or I'm talking about something, blah, 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 and I've always said this, if you feel like I'm going too far, you should say, Dan, would you like a cup of tea? Because what that sentence actually means is shut the hell up without saying that in that way. One is escalating it, shut the hell up. When I'm in a moment, that's escalating. Would you like a cup of tea? I've already given you these words to calm me down. And that means, oh, okay.
That's a bit like saying, calm down.
Don't say that.
Oh my God. Calm down. It's okay. It'll be fine. What do you mean calm down? Off the go.
I've got the best line ever to absolutely like escalate the highest. Say someone's going, bah, ah, just go, sorry, mate. Have you been drinking?
What?
Could you imagine? Like you're insinuating that they're drunk. Sorry, can I just ask, have you been drinking? What? I've not been. And watch them lose their mind.
Yeah, my kids do stuff.
Watch them lose their mind.
It's like, they'll say, who? And I go, what? And after I'm out to go and they go, Who? And I'll go, who? Who asked? Why are you doing? Just do as you're told. But yeah.
Do as you're told. What about you? What was your
My thought
quote of the day?
quote of is it quote of the day? What are we calling it? Thought of the day?
Thought of the day, quote of the day, whatever.
Quote of the week.
Yeah. We leave it to Kai, just put it in there.
There is always a solution. It may not be visible in front of you right now, but at some point, if you take a deep breath, it will come to you.
That's quite nice. I like that.
That's the only way I deal with life at the moment. Because if I keep mulling, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm perfect because I do.
I know you aren't perfect. You're not good. You're not excellent. You're perfect. There's only one of you. Remember about the tree. If there are no trees and there was just one tree, you would idolize her. There's only one you. You should idolize you.
You're giving him so many clips this week, aren't you?
I don't think I've actually done that many today.
Yeah,
Like,
you definitely have. I guarantee that's a clip.
yeah, it's fine. But yeah, I think it's good. Also, like, can we also champion our other people? So we've got Chelsea's doing.
Yeah, Chelsea's on next with her guests. So obviously that one will be coming out. She's got two. She's got
two already. Yeah, they did one.
One comes out today. One comes out today.
Well, no, ours will already be not out yet. So they would have already come out.
So this one would already come out before our one. She's just about to do another one. Jack's got another one coming.
Third. He's on his third.
He's on his third. Chelsea's on her second one after this one. They're
going to catch us. Do you know that? They're going to catch us.
Oh, hopefully. That's the idea. And obviously when we can do one all together when there's enough time in the world for everyone to all be in the same place at the same time.
We're coming to quite near the end. If you want to be a guest on this show, all you have to do is just write a comment underneath.
That's correct. We had a person that wants to come on the TV, so we're going to do a podcast through Zoom. We've never done one through that because the guest
Zoom. Never heard of it. Eradicated that time of my life away. Bloody quizzes.
Lockdown quiz.
Lockdown quiz. Any kind of quick things just on last week's episode that you wanted to say, or how many? Like, we won't go too far in it because we're nearly at the end. But I thought that was going to be another Kai clip.
No, basically, people. I've worked out people even watching this right now. All depends on where they are with their mental health and how people with their own thoughts can interpret something that you say, do. A bit like how you just said about escalating something. If you say it in a different way or do something in a different way.
Tone.
The reactions that I've had, positive, negatives, has made me think how I present myself, not just here, in other ways. Obviously, there's certain, like in the gym, like last night where everyone was just bantering and all the rest of it. And the lads in there that have watched it were taking the piss. And then other people were like, a bit like Bernie, well done, Scott. That was a great episode. So they're both, to me, both were positive, but also both, and I've had other people say this and say that, and I'm like, yeah, but listen, it's...
Come and sit in the seat.
Yeah, it's completely different.
See how you... Let's talk... The good thing about it, that I think no matter what, even if you get close to the edges, I'd rather you know that you can speak openly and honestly and not worry. I know you may worry about stuff too much, right? And don't get me wrong, we still have to be conscientious in the sense that we are filming this. But I still want you to make mistakes, talk openly and honestly, because if you had a thought and a feeling and you never said it, I don't know who you are as a person.
No.
I've always said this very controversial idea that if you're racist and then you hide it from me, right? It's weird. I'd rather that I knew and then I knew where I stood. But imagine all of my life and you're like, just someone there and they were just like, they didn't like you because you got a bald head, right? Just didn't like you, right? But they never told you. They were just weirdly mean to you. You're like, but why? Just tell me, because then now I know. Because otherwise it's just gaslighting. I need to know. And like, I understand politeness. I understand the situation of like banter and all that stuff. I completely get it. And that's what it is. And I pulled you up on it because in that moment, that's how I felt. But I sit in this seat.
But do you not think like there's only certain people that you'll take that from?
I don't know if you were going to be honest, I'm holding my hands up. The way that you, and I've, loads of people watched it, and the way that you reciprocated it was the growth of you is incredible.
Yeah, a few years ago, like many people that have known me.
Oh,
for
you
a
would
long
just flipped
time.
this table and told me to go away.
My mate Steve was like that.
How dare
My mate
him talk
actually
to you
messaged
like
me, he's
that?
like, Scott, he said, compared to where you was when we used to drink when you was 18, 19.
Yeah.
He said, yeah. Anyway.
But you just and imagine, and it sounds really terrible because you must have done this this is quite deep, but you must have done this in your marriage. But imagine that when you in new relationships, or you could go back and you could whisper into your ear of some advice to you at that time in your relationship, of like, oh, it's not a thing to die on. It's a thing I just need to say sorry on. It's a thing I can move on from. And that's it. If
Take
you
it
watch
on the
that
chin when
episode, we weren't annoyed for that whole thing. I think we said it, talk, and then we're laughing.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it should be. It shouldn't be like, I don't want to be in a bad mood for this whole time. Because if I didn't say anything and then I was weird and I was like, do you know, I'm not going to come in for next month. I'm not going to come in for the next 2 months. Then you're like, well, what's wrong with you? And I'm going to go, nothing.
I find it's easier. The things that I've learned, like with situations like that, if I could go back and give myself some advice, probably 10 years ago.
Buy Bitcoin.
I don't know if I had to go through that to be what I am today.
Yes, you did.
Because if I'd gone back and told myself 10 years ago, I think I would have been in the attitude, fuck off. Even though it was me telling me.
You wouldn't listen, would you?
No, I genuinely don't think
So how are your kids going to listen to you now? This is a problem. You wouldn't listen to you? So how, as another entity who always tells you
So
off,
why do we listen to our parents or
We don't.
do what we're told?
We don't.
Most of the time.
we don't.
How not?
We
If I tell my kids to clean the room, it may not clean it the first time around, but sixth time, seventh time, it will get cleaned.
Yeah, because in the end, they'd find out a way to stop you from whinging. They didn't want to do it, and they're not doing it because they want to do it. They're doing it because you told them to. And so they're not really doing it. If you, for instance, when I was a child, my room was completely spotless. Always. Parents never had to tell me because I like doing it. And so, but they might ask me to do something else that I don't like doing, and I'm not going to do it as quick. And the reason why sometimes they're doing it, ask me to do it, is because they want me to learn, they want me to take responsibility. But also, my parents could be being lazy. They could have done it. Can you go and get me the? No, you get up and get that. You know, we all do it.
Right.
Put this in the bin then.
Right, but obviously when you're around with your parents, I know we're dragging this back out. But with your parents, if they had a certain, like as many parents I know out there that don't like their kids swearing. So
Yeah.
even as an adult, like, what? You're a completely different person. That's not how you was just outside the door before you stepped into your mum and dad's.
Oh, it's the Kevin and Perry. Hello, Miss Bazin. Hello, Kevin.
But you go.
Hi, Perry.
But you must be like that with your parents and bits and pieces. There's certain things, like my kids, I find it as respect that they can be complete arseholes at home, but the moment we go out to a restaurant, the words, they just behave themselves. Like they
you
use
have
the
to-
table manners.
or we don't go.
Yeah, so it's...
Oh, I'd rather you be an absolute muppet at home and a saint out. That's the way around it has to be. It
I
cannot
just
be
use the
other way
words, don't
around.
embarrass me. And they know full well if they stepped over
What
that,
is the
they'd get it.
consequences of the
Oh,
embarrassment?
they'd get it. So like my son today, for example, Dad, can I have my pocket money?
Wow.
Not right now. I'm going to the thing. I haven't got time to sit down, do this, transfer that. Yeah, but he was like, well, I'm hungry. Well, there's food downstairs. Yeah, but it's crap food. It's my money. I was like, no, technically, mate, with that attitude, you've just lost it. But God, you didn't get any pocket money. Because technically, it's me that gives you the money and you're supposed to earn it. But to have that attitude.
What does he do for it?
This week, absolutely nothing.
And then there you go.
And then obviously that was the last
Imagine
part.
he had like clean your van, room's tidy, you didn't ask him, cooked a meal, and put out the rubbish, right? And he's like, Dad, sorry to ask you, I know you're really busy. Is there any way you could probably transfer me some money and stuff
I
like
would
that?
have probably, yeah. Yeah.
You gotta put tokens in mum and dad. You gotta do it.
And that's the bit.
And they forget this. Because they're not told. You can't tell them. It has to be outside influences tell them. That's why I go and talk. That's why I do these talks to loads of people, because I'm like, oh, you're not going to listen to your teacher or your parent on this. You'll listen to an outsider. And they'll be like, oh, I never thought about it like that. Because I'm not whinging at them.
Yeah, and you're also not their parent as well. They're taking your advice rather than, oh, mum and dad's whinging again.
Because they are. They are whinging again. And that's the problem. unfortunately, when you do something too much, if you whinge too much, they stop hearing it. Even if the one whinge is a good one for them, it just sounds like the other whinges. Just stop whinging.
Just stop whinging. And on that note, if you'd like to comment, subscribe, share. Obviously, I know Kai's going to do this at the very beginning because Kai's very good at that one.
Oh, sucking up to Kai now, are we? He is very good, though.
I was about to say, is he not?
He's not listening.
He is listening. He is listening.
He's got 2 pairs of headphones on. I don't know what's going on. That's
Oh, genuinely, he actually has 2 pairs of...
We'll take a picture. I will be back next week.
And obviously, guys, after... No, Chelsea's one was before this one. So I hope you enjoyed that one.
Stop referencing anyone else's podcast. Watch all of them.
Watch them all. And please comment. If you want to come on, please message us. Thank you very much, guys.
They're doing it now.